Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that many find both fascinating and concerning, determining if your life is influenced by negative or malevolent forces. You know, folks come to me all the time, convinced their problems are caused by something beyond their control. Now, I'm all about personal responsibility, but sometimes there are things in this world we can't explain. So let's explore the signs and steps you can take to address these influences, if you're brave enough to face them head-on. We're going to start by talking about patterns, those recurring events that just seem to keep happening. Now, we all have bad days, right? But when you're stuck in a rut, constantly facing setbacks, bad luck, or misfortune, that's when you've got to ask yourself, is something else at play here? It's not just about external events either. Are you plagued by negative thoughts, always expecting the worst? Do you feel a constant sense of dread, like something bad is about to happen? These could be signs that something darker is influencing your life. Look, I'm not saying every little thing is a sign of a malevolent force, but if you're experiencing these patterns, ignoring them won't make them go away. You've got to face them head on, understand why they're happening, and take control. Remember, recognizing the problem is the first step to fixing it. We're going to dive deeper into more specific signs in the next chapter, so stay with me. Now let's talk about you, your behavior, your actions. Are you acting like yourself lately? Have you noticed any sudden, drastic changes in your mood or behavior? This is where things can get really scary, folks. We're talking about acting out of character, doing things you'd never even think of doing before. Maybe you're suddenly prone to fits of anger or aggression. Maybe you're engaging in risky or self-destructive behavior. These are serious red flags, and you can't afford to ignore them. Look, I've seen it all on my show. People possessed by anger, driven by forces they don't understand. It's like something takes control, turns them into a stranger. If this sounds familiar, you need to pay attention. This could be a sign of something sinister at work. Don't be afraid to ask yourself the tough questions. Is this really me? Or is something else influencing my actions? It's a scary thought, but you need to be honest with yourself. We'll talk more about what steps you can take later on, but for now, just remember you're not alone in this. Now let's talk about what your body's telling you. You see, sometimes these negative forces, they manifest physically and emotionally. You start experiencing things you can't explain, unexplained aches, pains, sudden illnesses. These could be signs that something's not right. And I'm not just talking about a headache or a cold. We're talking chronic pain, debilitating fatigue, things doctors can't seem to diagnose. Then there's the emotional turmoil, anxiety that cripples you, deep depression that won't lift, thoughts that race out of control. These aren't just bad days, folks. These are signs that something deeper is troubling you. And the worst part, traditional treatments, therapy, medication, they don't seem to work. You're left feeling hopeless, like nothing can help. Listen to your body, it's trying to tell you something. Don't ignore these signs. We'll talk more about how to address these symptoms later, but first, we need to explore the spiritual aspect of this. Now, this is where things get really interesting, folks. We're talking about the spiritual realm, the things we can't see, but definitely feel. And let me tell you, when these negative forces start messing with your spirit, that's when you know it's serious. Maybe you suddenly develop an aversion to anything spiritual or religious. You can't even stand the thought of prayer or going to church. Or maybe it's the opposite. You're bombarded with terrifying visions, hearing voices whispering your name, feeling a presence that sends chills down your spine. These are not hallucinations, folks. These are real experiences. And they're telling you that something is trying to connect with you, something dark and malevolent. You might feel a constant sense of being watched, followed, even hunted. Your dreams become vivid nightmares, filled with images you can't shake off during the day. This is your spirit screaming for help, folks. Don't ignore it. Let's talk about your environment, your personal space, your home. You see, negative forces, they like to leave their mark, disrupt your sense of peace and security. And where better to do that than in the place you feel safest? Things start happening that you can't explain. Objects move on their own, disappear without a trace. You hear strange noises, whispers, footsteps when you're home alone. Lights flicker, shadows dance in the corners of your eyes. It's like your home is no longer your own. These are not figments of your imagination, folks. These are signs that something else is present, something that doesn't belong. You might notice drastic temperature changes, cold spots in certain areas, a sudden, overwhelming feeling of dread washing over you as you walk through your own house. These are all classic signs that something is off. Don't dismiss these experiences. Pay attention to what's happening around you. Your environment is trying to tell you something. Now, we've talked about the signs, the red flags that something might be wrong. But what do you do about it? How do you take back control? It starts with you, folks. You got to be honest with yourself. Take a good hard look in the mirror. Self-reflection is key here. Start journaling, write down your experiences, your thoughts, your feelings. Look for patterns, connections you might have missed before. Are these negative events truly random? Or is there a common thread, a trigger that sets them off? The more aware you are of your own life, the better equipped you'll be to identify what's causing these problems. And let me tell you, this ain't easy work. It takes courage to face your demons, to admit that something might be wrong, but you've got to be strong. You've got to be willing to fight for your own well-being. Remember, knowledge is power. The more you understand about what you're dealing with, the better prepared you'll be to overcome it. Look, I'm all about personal responsibility, facing your problems head on. But sometimes you need a little help, a professional perspective, and that's okay. If you're experiencing any of the symptoms we've talked about, it's crucial to seek professional help. Start with a mental health professional, a therapist who can assess your mental and emotional state. They can help you rule out any underlying psychological conditions that might be contributing to your experiences. Remember, sometimes what seems paranormal can have a very real, very treatable explanation. If your symptoms are primarily physical, see a doctor, get a full checkup, rule out any medical conditions. It's important to address all possibilities before jumping to conclusions. Remember, seeking professional help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength, a sign that you're taking control of your life and doing everything you can to get better. Now, if you're convinced that your experiences are rooted in the spiritual realm, then it's time to fight fire with fire. Spiritual practices can be powerful tools in combating negative influences, providing you with strength and protection. Prayer, meditation, connecting with your faith, these are all ways to strengthen your spirit. Create a barrier against negativity. Find a quiet space, close your eyes and focus on your breath. Visualize a white light surrounding you, protecting you from harm. If you belong to a particular faith, reach out to your religious leader, seek guidance and support. Attend religious services, immerse yourself in the community. Remember, faith is a powerful force. It can provide comfort, hope, and the strength to overcome even the darkest of times. Don't underestimate the power of your own spirituality. Remember how we talked about your environment, how negative forces can latch onto your home? Well, it's time to take back your space, cleanse it of any lingering negativity. Now, different cultures and beliefs have different methods for cleansing a space. Some people use sage smudging, burning herbs to purify the air and drive away negative energy. Others sprinkle holy water, call upon the power of their faith to cleanse and protect. You can also use protective symbols, crystals, or even rearrange your furniture to disrupt the negative energy flow. The key is to find what resonates with you, what makes you feel safe and secure in your own home. Open the windows, let in fresh air and sunlight. Get rid of clutter, anything that's weighing you down or holding on to negative energy. Create a space that feels light, bright, and positive. Remember, your home should be your sanctuary, a place where you feel safe and at peace. Don't let negative forces take that away from you. Look, facing these kinds of challenges, it can be isolating, terrifying, but you don't have to go through this alone. One of the most important things you can do is build a strong support system. Surround yourself with people you trust. Talk to your loved ones, your friends, your family. Share your experiences, your fears, your struggles. You might be surprised by how understanding and supportive they can be. If you don't feel comfortable sharing with people you know, consider joining a support group. There are countless online and in-person groups dedicated to helping people who are dealing with paranormal experiences. Remember, there's strength in numbers. Sharing your story, connecting with others who understand what you're going through, it can make all the difference. You are not alone in this fight. Remember, many symptoms attributed to negative or malevolent forces can often be explained by medical or psychological conditions, so it's crucial to seek appropriate professional advice. Don't let anyone tell you you're crazy for what you're feeling. Trust your gut and get the help you need. Balancing spiritual and practical approaches can provide comprehensive support and relief. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content.